Hi, I'm Greg Johnson, the CEO of Invoca, and in the run-up to Invoca Summit, we're speaking with some of our innovative customers who have been selected as finalists for the Invoca Summit Award. So today, I'm always excited to be joined by Lorenzo Clark, who is the National VP of Digital Sales at Kinetic by Windstream. We call him Zoe. Zoe, it's awesome to see you. How you been?
I'm doing great. Always a pleasure to spend time with you, Greg, and be considered for this award. It's an awesome feeling. So thank you so much.
Good. Well, thank you. We've been working with the Kinetic by Windstream team for a couple of years across both marketing and the sales and the contact center. And the team is pushing the limits and has some really interesting philosophies that we're going to talk a little bit more today. But before we do that, Lorenzo, do you just mind sharing a little bit about Kinetic by Windstream and what you all do, the types of customers that you serve?
Yeah, absolutely. So in my 3.5 years at Kinetic by Windstream, we've done a 180. We've done a 180. We are pivoting towards our fiber technology. We've invested just over $2 billion in the expansion of fiber across the footprint. And then the current challenge that we have today, which is monetizing our legacy technology, which is copper, and then making those migrations over to fiber and the next gen technology. And I'm proud to say that we're ahead of where we wanted to be at this particular juncture in the transition going to our fiber technology, the next gen. So we're super excited about that, and we'll keep pushing forward. And it's partners like Invoca that's helping us do that. So we appreciate that.
No, thank you. And one of the interesting things that I've been learning is working with companies like Kinetic is a lot. I think a lot of people don't realize your product availability is like down to the street, zip code, county level. And so that's one of the things that's really interesting to tune from a marketing and sales perspective is, it's not like everybody has the exact same access to the exact same set of products in every single geography that you serve. And that's just got to add a little bit of complexity to your whole go-to-market process.
Yeah, it sure does. Even at the zip code level, we might have 40% of the zip code that currently has next gen facilities, and then the rest of the zip code has copper facilities. So, when you go to, pay search, or when you're using, DM marketing is a little bit, that's for our spear phishing technology. Marketing medium, but the rest of it, it's like it's zip code level, So what do? Do you give them a next gen message? Do you give them a copper message?
Yeah.
So we've kind of figured it out from what we have today. But moving forward, as we build out the technology, once we get to all one platform, look out.
Yeah.
Look out.
Yeah.
And then we're going to be, it's going to be a different Kinetic.
Be ready to go. Okay. So this is when we get to transition over to one of my favorite topics, because Lorenzo has a take that might be a little bit controversial in how you run your sales teams. And so before we get into that, I think there are two pieces of your background that I enjoy. One is around your competitive spirit and like what you've done before. So I'm going to prompt you up there. And then another one in your professional background is I think you roll right before Kinetic by Windstream at a company I'm going to ask you to talk about a second. And the power of having sales and marketing really fine-tuned in the machine, how they work together. So before we jump into the controversial topic, do you mind sharing a little bit about your background and I'll bridge into how that segues into this topic?
Yeah, absolutely. So I did get an opportunity coming out of college to play football in the Carolina Panthers. They were an inaugural year, and they won us for young talent, and got an opportunity to. That's how I ended up in Charlotte. Actually, it was great. It was the best 15 minutes of my life. Unfortunately, I had an injury that occurred early in my career, but it was just such an awesome experience, and to be able to reach that level when I never even thought that it would be possible. Going to, some people were just destined, like LeBron James was destined to reach the NBA. Barry Sanders was destined to go to the NFL. I was not. So to be able to just kind of put your head down and work hard and get the opportunity and make the best of it, it was great. It was great for my confidence, going into my career, and I made some great contacts through that as well.
Yep.
And so playing on that competitive spirit that I've always had a unique opportunity to work with a little company called Red Ventures, and to be able to start with them early in like 2007, 2006. At the time, I think that our valuation was probably like 400 grand, and today it's worth like $7 billion, but to be able to come in and create the arm on that piece of it, the sales piece, and use that competitive spirit and create a culture of competitiveness, athletically minded people is what we used to try to focus on, and try just a various amount of different initiatives to drive performance and just try different things. That's a lot of where I got a lot of my experience from, and a lot of success that I've had today in my career, because of that. I won a 40 under 40 award because of that a long time ago, because it's been a long time ago since I've been 40.
Well, so this is the controversial part that I want to hear you talk about. A lot of customers that we talk to in the contact center, their question is like, what's my strategy for high distribute leads and inbound callers? And so do you mind sharing a little bit about your methodology, your approach? Maybe it's a little bit how it's different from what other people may do.
Yeah, absolutely. So I remember the day it kind of happened. I was in the center and just sitting around talking to some of my reps, and I was sitting in the midst of about 4 or 5 top reps, and then a call comes into the center because we have dashboards and we can see when a call comes in, and the call is distributed to one of my lower performers, right? And I'm sitting here and I'm watching this happen, and I'm halfway into their conversation because I'm watching this happen, and I'm like, wait a minute, that just doesn't feel right to me. I got 3 of my top people sitting around, and the call goes to a lower performer. So then kind of say, hey, look, how is our system set up? How's the distribution set up? And it's set up to distribute to the person who's been waiting the longest. And I'm saying, okay, so I paid $37, sometimes $80 for the phone to ring. And then it bypasses my top performers who have historically shown that they can convert calls into customers. And it goes to a lower performer who we're still working on to try to get them to acceptable levels. Okay, not going to work for me. So then we said, hey, you know what? Performance-based call routing technology is out there. Let's take advantage of it. So then we started to look into that piece of it. And then I said, hey, look, how are we going to distribute these calls even amongst our top performers, right? So we created this this methodology and this process. It's basically, we call it sales optimizations. So basically what we do is we say, okay, what are the drivers of our performance? So in our world, conversion is king. That's it. Paying for the phone to ring, we got to have people to be able to convert. So when you weight the distribution across the metrics that we track, it's 50% conversion, right? That's half of the weight. And then there's another 20% where you want to drive revenue, right? So you want to push on the revenue piece of it because we want to make sure that we are solution selling, right? Selling the entire product, suite of products to customers that we know are going to take advantage of it. Plus, more products helps you churn, down the road, so it lowers churn. And then the other piece of it is quality, right? We want to make sure that we're producing quality sales. We just want to throw things across the fence and throw them against the wall and hope they stick. We want to make sure that we're making quality sales. So when you create the cumulative score across how people perform in that, it creates a ranking, right? That we look back 4 weeks and we do it every 2 weeks. So we conduct the optimizations every 2 weeks. And what that does is it gives people the opportunity to move within the optimization of the ranking, right? So as we conduct the optimizations and we send them to our workforce team, and then they rank each rep. So now when the call comes in to the queue, it uses this optimization to determine and distribute to the person who is available, who is the higher ranked rep who is available. And it's interesting that before we started this, my top reps, what I would consider my top reps, they used to take we break it up in quartiles, I should say. The top 2 quartiles, which is half of the team, they took about 40% of the calls. Today, they take about 65 to 68% of the calls, right? And so now the optimizations has really helped with that piece of it, and take advantage of the monetization of the sales and leads that we're bringing in, because we're spending a lot of money to do it. And that's helped with the profitability. It's helped with our cost per lead. It's helped with a lot of those metrics on the marketing side as well, because now we have people who are able to monetize those opportunities, and we're putting it into the hands of the people. And from a recruiting and a retention perspective, we're retaining our top talent.
Yeah.
Because other companies out there, they want top talent, so they're on LinkedIn, they're pulling on people, they're tugging on people, but when people are happy because they're getting the opportunities and they're making the money that, some of them are making what I have these skip levels, and they're telling me, hey, look, you're stuck with me. You're stuck with me. I'm working from home. I'm in my own remote environment, and I'm able to make, 85, 90 grand just working 40 hours and talking to people and making them happy about selling them internet. Like, you're stuck with me. I'm good. I'm good. I don't want to be a supervisor. I don't want to do any of that stuff. This is what I want to do, and I'm good. So, and I'm like, we need you here. We need you happy. So thank you for that. So, and some people, and to be honest with you, Greg, we get some people who are like, well, what about the people, who are just, sitting around, blah, blah, blah. That part falls on us and our leadership team. We have to make sure we're properly staffed so we don't have people who are sitting around. So we manage the utilization as well. We manage the other workforce management metrics to make sure that we are covered and we don't abandon calls. So it's a delicate balance, but everyone gets an opportunity, because guess what? Even if I get, 10 calls a day, what determines my ranking is what I do with those 10 calls. And the randomization of the calls.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Right. It's a randomization of calls coming in. So I have just as much chance to get an internal transport or someone that I can really sell than anybody else.
Got it. So that's kind of how I was thinking about like a new agent who's coming in and they're like, how's the system not rigged against me? So that's kind of the way you get some at bats, and everything is based on those at bats that they're getting and how they do, and they can move up or they can move down based on. Is that kind of how it works?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You're going to get the same variety of pitches that everyone else get. It's just a matter of what type of batting average that you produce.
Yeah, how you do. No, I mean, it's really interesting to me. We talk a lot about performance-based culture, and I feel like this is one of the more realistic manifestations of what a performance. It's taking performance-based culture from talk to action and actually operations, and that's one of the things that I find so fascinating about it, because everybody talks about a performance-based culture, but you all have put that into day-to-day action and operating perspective that is that's really, really interesting and unique.
Yeah, and it's really embedded in our culture as well. I mean, everything we do is based on these rankings and optimization. We talked about scheduling. When we have our schedule bids, we use optimizations. So it keeps everyone focused on every single call that they get, and every day is not going to be a rock star day, but how you respond could determine what schedule you get or how many calls you get. So now I am more motivated to make sure that next day I get back on track. Yeah, completely. Well, good. Thank you for sharing that insight. As I said, I think it's fun to talk about technology, but it's also fun to talk about the things that technology enables. And what you all are doing with the Connected by Windstream team, to me, is super cutting edge, super interesting. And this idea of how do you drive a performance-minded culture, performance-driven culture. And it's always a pleasure to catch up with you, Zoe. So we will be announcing winners of Invoca Summit Awards. Look forward to seeing how you all pan out. Congratulations on being a finalist, and always a pleasure to speak with you. Thank you so much. We appreciate being a finalist. Even if we win or we don't win, I feel like we still won, just being considered. So thank you so much. You're a valued partner of ours, and we wouldn't be here without Invoca. So that's high moniker for you all. So thank you so much.
Great. Well, thank you. And for those of you who haven't registered for Invoca Summit, you can do so at invoca.com/summit. We look forward to seeing you on October 4th. Thank you, Zoe. Look forward to speaking to you again soon.
Thank you so much, Greg. Always a pleasure.